Hi, Michelle here. Welcome to my Milsbo cabinet, or what's the current edition of it. I thought that since it's been a few months since I've done a cabinet update, I would take you to my cabinet and show you what the plants look like now. It's changed a lot since the last time I did a tour of it, so I hope you enjoy. If you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you like to see plenty content like this from me, please consider subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. And if you have any comments, please leave them in the comments below. I'll definitely get back to you. And otherwise, on with the Hoyas. The first plant I have is actually a cutting, and I just took this actually today. What this is a sipitangensis, and I had to take cuttings of it because unfortunately it got some root rot. It wasn't doing well. It lost some leaves. You can see some bare nodes over here, but its sun stress is really pretty. You can see a little bit of sun stressing over here. I've had this plant for about, well, this is one of the first plants I got. So about 3 years. I got it in 2019. This plant that I'm taking out, I have to be kind of careful with because it's actually got a very long stem with some new leaves on it. This is my nervosa. It's got some, unfortunately, it got this leaf right here was right up next to the grow light, so it's damaged. This leaf grew up next to the grow light, so it got damaged. There's a new leaf right here that got up next to the grow light, so it was damaged. This plant actually kind of needs to get taken out of the Milsbo cabinet so that way I can, it won't keep getting burned. So it's got this big long vine, and it's got some new leaves right there, and it's got new leaves right there and right there, and down the stem a little more. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to gently trellis this up. Okay, sorry about that. I had to adjust the video. Next is another plant that I had to take cuttings from. This is my thomsonii. This is thomsonii pink. It's got cuttings to there, and it goes all the way to down there. Unfortunately, this plant had root mealies, so I had to go ahead and take cuttings from it and restart it again. But it's quite long. It's got peduncles in quite a few places. It bloomed once for me, but unfortunately, ever since then, I believe there's kind of been a root issue for a long time, so it hasn't bloomed since. I went ahead and I cut the roots. We're starting over again, and hopefully once this goes ahead and reroots and reestablish itself, hopefully all the peduncles that are on this will go ahead and bloom, because there's about 10 peduncles on this. So that's my thomsonii pink. My next plant is one of my newest and one of my favorites. This is my waymaniae cloudy sky. I just got this about maybe 3 weeks ago. I have it in tree fern fiber. It has already gotten roots. I don't know if you can see that right there, but there are roots. It's got a new growth point that has new leaves. So this is really exciting. I have it kind of in the corner on a shelf on my cabinet where it gets sun, but not exactly direct sun. Not exactly direct sun. This is my caudata big green leaves, And I'm really excited to say that it has a peduncle that is budding up right now. And it has quite a lot of new growth. I took some cuttings from it. It definitely has a lot of leaves. So it's grown quite a lot since the last time I showed this plant. Here is a little rotundiflora cutting. It's well rooted, but it's in fluval stratum, which definitely means that I need to take this out and put this in something. It's got some nice growth over here. It's got 2 new leaves right here, if you can see those right there. This is a new growth point. It's still active, but there aren't any leaves on it. I definitely need to get this out of the stratum and into something else, maybe tree fern fiber, maybe, pond, we'll see. This is a vitellinoides cutting I took on my repot 16 Hoyas video. I took it accidentally where I cut it with no stem. I made a mistake in the cutting, and as you can see, it is fully rooted. It's also got a growth tip on the end. We have some workers. They're going up on the roof. Hold on, I'm going to close the window so we can't hear the workers outside. Hopefully that should be a little better. The next plant I have, it's kind of a unwieldy one. It needs to get on the trellis because it's had some new growth since I've worked on this trellis. This is my latifolia from Sarawak, and it's got some new growth right there, those leaves. It's got these leaves all here were all new growth. It's got one that unfortunately got damaged right there, but it's also got some new growth tips back here, say like right here, right here. It does have some damage on it. I keep having the issues with the leaves doing this. Now this was in the back of the cabinet towards the window. I don't know if this is sunburn. I don't know if this is nutrients. I don't know if this is, I know this isn't pests. This plant has been checked over so many times for pests. It's been treated for flat mites twice with a commercial miticide. It definitely is, that's not the problem. But I definitely wonder what it is. It's got these really big leaves right here, and this one right here. This is my fitchii. This is one of my favorites. This came to me as, let's see, I think it was 3 leaves. And it's grown so much since then, and it blooms so frequently for me. It's got these 2 peduncles, and as you can see, they have very long, what do you call that part? I'll put it down below. But this part where the pedicles attach is very long, signifying that this plant has bloomed a lot of times. So it's one of my favorites. It's even got a new leaf right there. So it's always blooming. It's got a tiny little bit of sun stressing on it, not much. It is in the higher part of the cabinet, but it doesn't sun stress. It just soaks up the sun and spits out blooms. So I really like that plant. And the last plant I have to show is this kind of sad sack. This is my Dischidia hirsuta. I'll have to put the name down below because I say it wrong. I put it in this plant because I was trying to lay it flat and root it flat. You know, half the plant has died, so I'm kind of wasting a 5-inch pot on it. We'll have to see what happens. I may take it out of this pot and put it in something else. Okay, so that's it for the first shelf. Let's go ahead and get adjusted for the next shelf. The next shelf we're going to go ahead and focus on is my short shelf, as I call it, or my highlight shelf. The first plant I have to show you is my lacunosa NOID. And this plant it's budding up right now, but it has a peduncle blooming. It has one here budding up. This was sold to me as lacunosa black, but I've never really come across anything described as that. Unsolicited Plant Talks has a lacunosa black leaves or lacunosa long leaf. That's the closest I've seen anything referred to it like this. It has bloomed for me. Like I said, I've taken pictures of it. But as for identifying it as to anything, I have not yet. But this came to me as a very small cutting. I'll put a picture of it up. So it's grown a tremendous amount for me. This is one of my new plants and one of my favorites. This is my Hoya microdwarf. This is NS12-323. It came to me with 10 leaves. It dropped one. Now it's got 13 leaves, so it's gained a net total of 3. In my last video, I just repotted this because it was in fluval stratum initially, and in my personal experience, fluval stratum produces very thin, hair-like, weak roots. They're not rotted roots. They're just very thin roots. They're not robust like I like to see them. So this was put in tree fern fiber, about a 70-30 mixture of tree fern fiber and perlite. So it did lose one baby leaf as a result of the transition, but it hasn't lost the growth tip yet, so that's always good. Okay, this is my snow sui silver. And these latest leaves that it grew for me are quite interesting. I've never seen these kind of reverted or partially reverted leaves like this on this plant before. It kind of curved on me as it grew. It's got a new leaf right. It's got a new leaf right there, but it's grown quite a lot. It had one leaf when I got it. It had this leaf when I got it. So it's grown quite a lot. And I don't know if you can see that way down in there, but there is a new growth tip and a new leaf growing right in that center there. So that's pretty exciting. This is just a little globe filled with some cuttings that I'm trying to root. A little heuschkeliana green, a krohniana black, what's this? This is a sipitangensis and a sigillatus. And there's even a GPS 7240 in there. I keep dropping these down, so I apologize. So just some cuttings that are rooting. Here's another new cutting of mine. I got this as a bonus cutting. This is a walliniana variegated. It is so beautiful. I just love the colors of this. I have it in tree fern fiber to root, and it does pass the tug test very well. So that's always good. It has no new growth yet, but should be any day now. It is producing quite a bit of root growth. And this is another one of my new Hoyas that I put on my did I just get 3 wish list Hoyas unboxing video. This is my Hoya carrii. This definitely was a wish list plant, and I am so excited to see this. There is a new growth tip, if it's getting that at all, but there is a new growth tip. So that's really exciting. They are 2 tiny little nubs, but there's 1 little nub on each side. So it looks like I got 2 stems growing. I'm sorry, I think you can hear our roofers above. This is my rintzii from Borneo. This is a new leaf that is developed. It's definitely been sun stressed. It looks very beautiful. There is a node down at the base with 2 new leaves in it. There is also a node right there with a new growth point. And there is a node right there that will hopefully grow something. But I do like the pretty sun-stressed look on this rintzii Borneo. This Nova Ghost I've had for a year. I got it September 2022, and it has done nothing for me. It has great roots, but it has no growth point. It doesn't look like it has any growth nubs. It doesn't look like it is intending to grow any growth nubs. The roots are fantastic. The roots look great. They're not rotted. They're great. So I don't know how much longer that one's going to last. This is my lacunosa variegated. I really love this Hoya. I think it's so beautiful. It's got such small leaves, but the leaves have such beautiful variegation. I bought this when it was about 10 leaves. I did snip off, it had a whole other piece over here. I did snip it off because it reverted. Looks like there's a couple pieces over here that have reverted that I left attached to the plant. It starts over here. But the side of the plant that's not reverted is just really beautiful. It's just a lovely little plant. And to prove that Nova Ghost can actually grow in my care, my daughter gave me these 3 Nova Ghost cuttings, and they also have rooted in my care. Take that out. They have rooted in my care, but they are starting to grow. So that's good. I also stuck this polyneura cutting in. I was having trouble getting it rooted, so I stuck it in here, hoping that it would grow a little faster with the higher light. Normally, polyneura don't really do good in higher light, but I said it wasn't rooting, so might as well take a chance. And the last plant on my second shelf is my clemensiorum. And when I took this plant out of the cabinet, I am so excited to see that there is a new leaf growing right there. So that's so exciting. It's got this leaf, which this leaf right here was the original leaf. Then it grew this leaf. This plant actually had a situation where I left it outside for about 5 minutes. It got burned by the sun. So I lost 3 leaves doing that. So I had to cut it back. So when I cut it back, I took one cutting and I cut it for me. And I took one cutting and I cut it for my daughter. And this is what's grown since. So I'm very happy to finally have a new leaf. That's very exciting. Okay, well, first of all, I must say that I was not expecting to have the roofers overhead today while filming this video. And if I wasn't doing something else with the cabinet that had to be done today, I wouldn't be recording this. So I'm really sorry about the banging sound. Hopefully when I go to edit this video, I can cut it out. So now I'm on the 3rd shelf, and this is kind of my my growth shelf. This is where the most explosive amount of growth occurs in my cabinet. You'd think it'd be the top shelf, but no, it's actually this shelf. This is my crassipetiolata splash. And as you see, it needs to be retrellised because it's got stuff growing everywhere. And I have leaves sticking out everywhere. I have this little messed up grouping of leaves all squished here at the bottom. I'll put that right there. I don't think those are gonna straighten out, so I probably will want to just cut this off, honestly. But I don't know where I put my shears, so we'll just leave it for now. This does have a peduncle down here, and as you see, it's bloomed quite a lot. But this started as 2 leaves, so I do believe I got this 2 years ago, Thanksgiving. So that gives you an idea. It's a very forgiving plant. The roots are like, let me show you. Here are the roots. It definitely needs to be repotted into something larger, but with the status of these roots the way they are, because this is all very good root, I'm probably going to have to cut that net pot. And I'm going to have to cut all the way around the net pot, break it open, slide it off, and detach the pot from the roots like that. I may actually have to leave the bottom of the pot with the roots and just insert it into a 5-inch pot. That way I've had to do that with some plants. So this is my crassipetiolata splash. This is another part of the sipitangensis cutting that I said I took this morning. The leaves are really paper thin and falling out of the little thing. Like I said, I had an issue with root rot. This grew from one, I have another plant of it up there. This grew from one cutting of about 8 leaves, maybe 10 leaves. So it had this, the first plant, the very first cuttings I showed you, and I have one more plant. So that all came from a cutting of about 10 leaves. This is my deykeae. This is kind of a diva plant, to be really honest with you. I'm surprised at just how sensitive this plant is. I have restarted this. I do believe this is the 3rd time. This is cuttings. I had to take cuttings of the plant because I did rot the roots. So I'm quite excited to say that it has a new baby leaf. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. It's got a new baby leaf right there. And it's got a new baby leaf right there. And it's got a little bit of nutritional damage back here on this leaf. It's got sun stressing back here on these leaves, which is really pretty. I took it out of the highlight area, so the sun stressing is faded. So this has grown quite a bit since I've had it. I really like the deykeae. It's one of my favorites. This is my GPS 7240, and it definitely needs to be retrellised a little bit. It's kind of grown all over the place. Like I said, oops, I think I knocked off a leaf. Like I said, this is the shelf where the majority of the growth happens. I went ahead and got it trellised now. So this is the GPS 7240, and I'm looking at the roots. I don't really see anything. I see some thin roots peeking out the pot. They look good. See some perlite. Okay, so this is the plant. It's grown the most on the top. It's really beautiful. This started as 2 cuttings from my daughter for my birthday. I'll put a little picture of them. And it's just really taken off. I potted one going here and one going here. And for a while, the one that my daughter gave me from her plant just really took off. And the one she gave me that she bought kind of stagnated a bit. But now they're both growing really fast. And this is one of my favorite plants. It's got so many leaves right here. It's got new leaves right here, new leaves up here, and new leaves over here. So this is my GPS 7240. Okay, we had to take a little break because I had to change the camera battery. But where we are is we're still on the 3rd shelf. And this is my very, very overgrown heuschkeliana Inner Variegated. I definitely need to re-trellis this. It's very, very compact. It's got new growth that's falling off. I don't have any space to wrap it on the trellis. I received this as, I'll put it up on a screen, very, very small cutting. And I grew it from there. I've had this about, I'll have to put up the date because now I can't remember how long I've had it. But I've had it quite a while. It's a really good plant. I've taken cuttings from it. It's got peduncles galore. It blooms quite frequently. The blooms smell like a cross between buttered popcorn and butterscotch. So it's kind of like a sweet buttered popcorn smell. And they normally are the most fragrant at night. But as you can see, there's a little peduncle right there. There's a little peduncle right there. So I really enjoy this plant. It's a beautiful plant. And once I get it trellised on something larger, I think it's going to be even more beautiful. So this is my heuschkeliana Inner Variegated. I'm excited to say that this plant just bloomed for me. And I'm looking at the roots and, oh, the roots are not the best. So I may have to trim this up. But oh no, the growth point. See, the growth tip got bent and it died. So that's no good. And it bent right before the node too. So I'm going to have to cut that off, unfortunately. This is my tequila sunrise. I got this as I think I got 3 leaves. I split it with my daughter. I got it about a year ago. It does sun stress really pretty. I haven't really sun stressed it too much. It's grown really rapidly. This is its newest leaf right here, right there. It has a peduncle. It did bloom for me. I did a short on it, a YouTube short, or also did like a TikTok video on it. It doesn't have any other growth points, so that is a bummer that this one died off, but there is a node right there, so all is not lost. The last plant on the 3rd shelf is my cagayanensis, and this has really, really grown a lot since I took it out of my D12 and put it into my Milsbo. And when I say grown, I mean grown. It's probably put on 17 or 18 leaves since I put it in the Milsbo. It's just multiplying very rapidly, more rapidly than I anticipated. I put it in the Milsbo so that way I could get it to bloom again, because it originally had 3 peduncles, but I do believe that 2 fell off, but there is still this 1 peduncle right here where my thumb is. I do not see the other 2 anymore. So they must have fallen off. But it's got this gorgeous anthurium-like velveteen sheen on the leaves that is such a gorgeous, I don't know if I can get the light to reflect it or not, but it's just a gorgeous velveteen sheen. And the flowers are just beautiful. I'll put a picture up. So that's my cagayanensis. I hope it blooms for me soon. I'm going to trellis these and get these wound up. And that's it for the third shelf. Boy, that is dirty. So now we're going to go ahead and focus on the bottom shelf. And the first plant I'm going to show is my meredithii, or as I should say, the remnants of my meredithii. Because what I did was this had root mealies, so I had to cut it up and start it again. But I am happy to say that if you look in the pot, you'll see roots have formed again. So it looks good. It's got plenty of roots. So there are new growth starting. There is a leaf starting to form right there. There is a new growth tip right there. There is a very long growth tip right here. There is a new growth tip with leaves right there and right here. So there are two right at the same place. And there is a new growth tip right down there. So cutting up this plant was very hard on me because I'll shoot a picture in what it looked like right before I cut it. And it was a beautiful plant. This plant's going to be beautiful too. It's going to occupy a lot of the base of the plant. And then when I get, I'm going to probably put it on a ladder trellis. So when it grows up the ladder trellis, it's going to be very bushy and it's just going to look really beautiful. So I'm really excited to see that. Oh no. Oh, I let this dry out again and I think I rotted the roots. This is my species Bahoi. And as you can see, I let the water run out again. And so these roots are dry, which means I probably rotted them. I will put water in this in a little bit and hope for the best. Please let these roots not rot. They probably will. I'm probably gonna have to reroot the whole thing all over again. It's like the third time I've had to reroot it. I got that cutting. As you can see, it has no stem whatsoever. It has no growth points. I grew this. It had two growth points. One died off. I cut the other one off. It grew a leaf. I cut that one off, gave it to my daughter because we split the plant. And I'm more comfortable in rooting something without a stem than my daughter is. And hers is taking off. Hers has grown like two more leaves. It's got like a total of 3 leaves. Mine, on the other hand, I can't get it to root to save my life. All right, let's see if we can get this one out. Maybe, oh, maybe not. I think it grew in the trellis. Oh, it did. Oh, no. It grew in between the trellis. So in order to take out my sunrise, I'm going to have to untrellis my lacunosa black. So I got my lacunosa black about as well trellised as I can get it for right now. I had one piece, kind of a casualty, but this is a really pretty Hoya. As you can see, it sun stresses very, very dark. This is the new growth as it comes in by the grow lights, and it's very, very dark. But the new growth, as without light, just grows in this kind of a normal dark green color. The leaves are a little smaller. at least the original leaves I had were a little smaller. But when I grew this plant out closer to the light, it started producing these a lot larger leaves. They're still the heart shape of a krohniana, so they didn't turn into lacunosa shaped leaves, but they are a lot larger. So I think that's quite interesting. Here is my big, I need to put this, oh no, it's got root mealy. See, this has got root mealy. So what I'm going to do is Carol Knoll from Hoya 101 plus NOID said that giving it a dunk of hydrogen peroxide will kill root mealy. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give it this because this is too much root to just get rid of. This thing definitely needs a repot. I would hate to lose the roots. I will first try. I have done a dip in rubbing alcohol, about a 50-50. Well, it was more like a 70-30 mix of rubbing alcohol water. Dip the whole root ball or the whole root, the pot, the net pot that the root is in rubbing alcohol mixture, leave it set for about 5 minutes, take it out, let it dry, then thoroughly rinse the net pot with with water. And that has worked. I have not seen root mealy come back in the plant I tried it in so far. It's got this peduncle here. It's got peduncles in other places, like right here. But it's just this really big plant. I got this as one 10-leaf unrooted cutting, and I've just grown it since then. I've taken a lot of cuttings, but it's just mad with all of its aerial roots. Sun stress is really pretty. This is right up against the lights. But I definitely will need to hold this to the side and give it a treatment. Because those root mealy don't look good. That's probably why it's not growing. This is my walliniana. I grew this from a wet stick. This is the stick. It had a leaf right here. It dropped it. I rooted the wet stick and it started growing these kind of wonky leaves. Then it grew these leaves. And finally, the latest set of leaves is this very nice looking one here. And this very nice looking one here. It's got a new leaf right here. It's got some root, it's got some nubs right there. And it's got these actually are starting, if I can hold it still, right there. So I'm very excited by this. I just checked on this when I did my last video. So this one's pretty good to go, and I just talked about it. This is my rotundiflora. This needs to really go up on the top because it's getting caught with the lights and it's burning the leaves. And it's got plenty of new growth. It's got new growth back here, as you can see the new leaves. So it's definitely growing, and it's blooming up right now. So I'm really excited. I hope to get a time lapse of it. I'm going to do everything I can to get a time lapse of it. I have just some little rotundiflora cuttings that look like the roots rotted because it must have ran out of water. So I got to re-root those, put those over here. Okay, and the last plant is my thomsonii. I would call this the round form or the round leaves. I grow this from one leaf, and it has just grown since then. It started off as this leaf right here. It has a peduncle right there that it bloomed from. It has really beautiful blooms. It has two new leaves. It has a new leaf right here, and it has a new leaf right there. You can see right there. So this plant is in soil, but it's extremely root bound, so I need to repot this. I'm thinking about repotting it in tree fern fiber. So that's my Milsbo cabinet. I went through all the plants in that. I still have 2 detail cabinets. You can see one behind me on this side, and one is right over here on the opposite side. I will get to those on later updates. I will try to update both of those in one video, so I don't make this too long of a video. This is my Milsbo cabinet with everything put back in and rearranged a bit. Please let me know how you like the finished result. I hope you have a wonderful day, and until next time, bye.